With nothing but just the starting tools and the limited resources on your starting farm, is it possible to beat the game without leaving the farm? Now, since Stardew Valley is such an open-ended game, it really is up to personal opinion as to what beating the game really is. Usually this would be a set of goals such as completing the community center or completing the Joja warehouse, or a goal of monetary profit. For me personally, I decided to go with the objective that commenter Marialla mentioned in the challenge. Here it is verbatim. Cannot leave farm except days when you buy a Joja membership or bundle. Goal is to buy a movie theater to complete the run and to be free. So basically, I must stay only at the farm and earn enough money to complete the Joja bundles and to buy the movie theater. I'm not allowed to leave the farm to buy from stores, mine at the mines, forage or upgrade my tools. The only means of profit and progress has to come strictly from my farm alone. Which means I won't have access to upgrading my tools, a lot of different resources, and no means of fishing either. The only real advantage I can gain from this restriction is that I can actually gain access to the greenhouse from the Joja bundle, which will be my top priority as having the greenhouse will be a huge boost to my farm and its economy. This means that I need to earn at least 640,000 G. For those that are unaware as to why, 140,000 G is needed to complete the Joja bundles, and it also cost me 500,000 to repair the movie theater. That's a lot of money, and I need to earn that without any outside help. But there's a good way around this. I decided to prepare for this challenge by dividing my playthrough into 5 different stages, which I'll mention throughout the run what they are. By the way, before we get into the video, I really wanted to release this video during Halloween, but due to some family emergencies, I was unable to work on a new video for about 2 weeks. So sorry for the late upload. This video also took quite a long time to make, so I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to the video, to stay updated with fresh new challenge content. Anyway, let's get into the challenge of life as a recluse in Stardew Valley. Our run starts off with us selecting the hilltop farm for this challenge. Commenter Marialla did mention that the forest farm would be a good idea, and initially I thought so too, as you can get forage and more mixed seed. However, I wanted ores from the quarry as that would enable me to craft a lot of things that would boost my passive income, so I decided to go with my favorite farm for the challenge, the hilltop farm. Like all normal runs, I get to work on the farm, cleaning out the debris and planting down my initial plot of parsnips. I'm in no rush to clean up the farm as time is the resource that I have plenty of. I cut down some trees just enough for a chest and don't really want to cut down too much either, as I need tree seeds in order to replant to have a renewable source of lumber. Since I'm not allowed to gather wood or go out anywhere else in general, it's imperative that I make the most of my resources that I start off with. I then cut all the fiber on the farm as I'm looking for some mixed seeds. I'm not gonna use them now as I will save them up for the greenhouse later. This will be the only way I will be able to grow crops and gain farm levels, so I don't wanna waste them right now. I'll work my way up to the farm quarry and start mining all the rocks and copper on the farm. I mine till I pass out. Since I don't need to worry about buying anything for now, the money that I lose isn't a huge loss. Unfortunately, day 2 starts off with me having only half my energy. I was banking on gaining a level in foraging or mining, but I guess I calculated wrong. It isn't too much of an issue as I haven't lost anything significant. I water my parsnips once more and get to work on chopping some trees and wood debris, hoping to gain a level in foraging. I really need this level in foraging as it will kick off the very first stage of my plan, so I go ham on the trees till I pass out once more. And I got my calculations wrong once more as I still didn't level up my foraging, so once again, day 3, I cut some more trees and head to sleep, finally getting that much needed level 1 in foraging. Why am I so hell-bent on getting that one measly level? Well, my first stage of my plan is the acorn stage. What I plan to do is clean the entire farm and plant down a bunch of acorns to harvest acorn seeds. While doing this, I will get also plenty of sap and wood as well. Why acorns? Well, the only renewable and easy to access resource for now is trees, and the highest selling tree seeds are acorns. They sell for 20 G a pop while the other tree seeds sell for 5 G. My plan is to amass a huge amount of acorns. This will ensure that I get the initial money that I need to buy the Joja membership and the greenhouse bundle as well. I also make sure to go to the farm quarry and clear it out as I want it to be constantly pumping out new rocks and ores. Once again, I mine till I pass out. Day 5 is the day my parsnips are ready, so I make sure to harvest them and say goodbye to farming as it will be a very long time before I start planting crops. My farm is still riddled with debris, so I get to work clearing the farm and chopping down trees. Like all my other videos, I make sure to leave the tree stumps behind so they can still be able to germinate and spawn trees in the area. I continue clearing out the farm and quarry for the next couple of days. On Sunday the 7th, I get to work on replanting some trees. I plant some pine cones to the right of my house and start making the foundations for a maple farm to the left. These maple trees are quite important as I plan to make some tapas on them. These tapas will be essential as maple syrup will allow me to make beehives later down the road. On Tuesday the 9th, I get to work on laying down the foundation for my acorn trees as well. I don't have a lot of acorn seeds to work with, so I make do. So besides this small area, most of the farm will be covered in pine cones for now, as that is the most plentiful. After getting everything done, I go into what I like to call the great sleep process, since all I can do is cut trees that have grown and collect the seeds that has fallen. I will go to sleep for a couple of days, come out, cut down all the grown trees, pick up the tree seeds, and mine at the farm quarry. This is pretty much the strategy of the Acorn stage. Sleep for a couple of days, go out, cut trees, pick up seeds, mine at the quarry, rinse and repeat. I do this until I pick up Sophie, my dog, on the 23rd. Some much needed company for the lonely vampire. Well, he does go out in the sun, so I guess we can consider him half a vampire. Besides that, nothing too interesting happens, and all I do is pretty much the same. Every time I pick up an acorn though, I make sure to grow my acorn farm empire. Slowly, the season of spring changes into summer, but even with the changes of seasons, my plan remains the same. Even in the blistering hot sun, our half vampire pulls on through, enduring his one true weakness: to farm up those tree seeds and wood. Summer first is when I first start to put on some tappers on the maple trees, as I do want to get a head start on collecting some maple syrup. But from here on out, besides chopping wood, you can assume that I'm harvesting the maple syrup as well, and adding tappers when I can. Besides that, it's the same strategy for the entire season of summer. Here are some snippets. I will also have the unedited videos as evidence, or just, videos that you can watch in my other channel, the IndieMasters archive, if you want to see how exactly I did this challenge. So if you like raw unedited playthroughs, you can go and check that out. Anyway, the last day of summer is an important one. As you can see here, I have left all the weeds on the farm. I was trying to make sure that the weeds germinate and spread throughout the farm. This will increase the chances that I get some mixed seeds. And this is the only way I can get mixed seeds. Well, besides tilled wormy spots. So I make sure to let them do their thing until the last day of each season. I'll be doing this every season, every year, and every time. We head into fall with nothing too much changing. What I'm hoping for is for one of the many trees that I have on my farm to change into a mushroom tree, so I can have a mushroom tree farm, as this would be another important transition in my stages. I get lucky on fall 5th as one of my tree stumps turn into a mushroom stump. This won't come into play for a long time, but I'm glad that I have it now. I'll get into more details when we reach the mushroom stage. Besides that, we're once again repeating the same old lumber strategy till the end of fall. Winter is probably my most favorite season during the first phase, the Acorn stage. Since tree seeds don't grow but only spread through winter, I can just sleep several days, go out and harvest all the tree seeds and go back to sleep, then rinse and repeat. This is a great way of harvesting acorns. For example, on winter 4th, I'm able to collect over 100 acorn seeds. That's about 2000 G. That doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it's huge right now. This is highly inconsistent though, as sometimes I'll get 30 acorns, while some days I'll get 60. Anyways, I end the first year with about 6000 wood and about 400 acorn seeds. Nothing too much changes for my second year as well, as it's pretty much the rinse and repeat of the same strategy. The only difference is that now I got some mushroom trees. I make sure to clean out an area around them and let them germinate so that I can have more mushrooms available to me. Fall 1st of the second year, I'm now laying down pathways in order for the mushroom trees to germinate properly. Since they're treated like trees, they have to have a free space of 1 tile in between them in order to grow properly. I also make sure to start tapping them as well. Now I have a great passive income, especially if it's fall, as these mushrooms will be spawning a red or common mushroom every day, and if I'm lucky, a purple mushroom will periodically appear. Winter of the second year, I learned that mushroom trees will stop producing and just die. So in order to make full use of this information, I plan to cut down all the future mushroom trees on the last day of fall, for 5 red mushrooms per tree, as they will just die out anyway. They will, however, regrow into a beautiful new mushroom tree at the beginning of spring, something I really didn't know about. At the end of the second year, the ghost of Grandpa came and wasn't too pleased, as the farm had turned into a logging company, and I still had not earned a single dime at all. This was all about to change, however, as on the 14th of spring, the third year, I made my very first big sell, a grand total of 75,395 G. This was through maple syrup, sap, mushrooms, and tons of wood and tree seeds. This was more than enough for me to be able to get the greenhouse and the Joja membership. Because I accumulated more than 25,000 G, Demetrius appeared and offered to turn my dinky old cave into a fruit bat cave. I chose the bat cave as I had a means of mushrooms and I wanted to be able to get different types of fruits. These fruits are very important as not only they can be used in future kegs and preserve jars, some of these fruits can be used to craft seasonal wild seeds. This strategy will be used later, but I'll briefly touch on it for those of you that are curious. Here is IndieMasters' awesome tip for those of you doing a don't leave the farm challenge. Playing on the hilltop farm will ensure that you are able to get 3 of the 4 seasonal forageable seeds on a quote-unquote farm-only run playthrough. Why, you ask? Well, great question. The most important thing here is the seed maker, and you're only able to craft this if you have coal and gold bars, and wood too. If you're able to only be on the farm, you need to have access to these ores, so that's a no-brainer as to why the hilltop farm is essential. You're not able to attain spring forage seeds, but you can get the other 3. Summer season wild seeds are obtained through the fruit bat cave. If you're lucky enough to get a spice berry, save it and use it on the seed maker and voila! Summer wild seeds. For fall, all you need are common mushrooms. If you have lots of trees like me, one of them is bound to change into a mushroom tree in fall. Pluck a tapper on that bad boy and you can easily get a common mushroom. Then, use that on the seed maker and tada! Fall wild seeds. For winter, you'll be getting a lot of wiggly wormy spots. Till one of them till you get a winter root. Shove it in the seed maker and there you have it. Winter wild seeds. Also, on a side note, fall wild seeds are the only one you can get on the farm early and the only one that doesn't require a seed maker. Because blackberries can be found on the farm bushes, the common mushrooms from the mushroom trees, hazelnuts just from shaking trees in general, and the wild plum from the fruit bat cave. Combine all these ingredients together to get 10 packets of fall wild seeds. I hope this random tidbit somewhat helps you in your Stardew journey, and I'm sure that this great tip deserves a like, comment and subscribe. I would really appreciate if you do so. If not, here is a clip of me fishing for attention. Jokes aside, 15th of Monday, 3rd year of spring is when I head out for the very first time. Out to town to Joja Mart. It was very tempting to pick up the forage on the way and talk to people, but staying true to the challenge, I made sure I had tunnel vision all the way to Joja Mart. I'll buy the Joja membership for 5000 G, head back to the farm and sleep, and go right back the next day to get my very first Joja bundle, which is the minecarts. Just joking, it's obviously the greenhouse. The next day the greenhouse was ready. I got so excited that I was able to plant things that I rushed in and without thinking planted all my mixed seeds. I instantly regretted it as I thought all the seeds available in all seasons would grow. I didn't know it was just the crops that would grow in that particular season. And that what I really thought was only applied to the season of winter. See, what I really wanted were crops that could be harvested multiple times, such as corn, eggplants, or hot peppers, which means really I should be planting the mixed seeds only during the season of fall and summer. So I made sure not to repeat this silly mistake again. Also, for those of you who are curious, here is the entire list of what mixed seeds can be turned into depending on each season. Hoping for some of these reharvestable crops, I placed 3 sprinklers into the greenhouse and planted 6 mixed seeds. These placements were not the best and I will have to redesign it later, but for now, I don't have the resources for lots of sprinklers nor the seeds to do anything. Anyway, finally the Acorn stage was over and it was now time to move into phase 2, the honey mushroom stage. Very similar to the first Acorn stage, I'm once again relying on trees, specifically tapped mushroom trees for mushrooms to sell for profit. Although I don't have a lot of tappers for all the mushroom trees for now, they are slowly and steadily giving me mushrooms for profit, so it's a good passive income for now. And after all the spring crops were ready on summer 1st, I was finally able to get farming level 3, so that means the mixed seeds used in spring weren't a complete waste of resources. This means that I had the blueprints for the bee house. I had enough to make 1 bee house, but I was going to need much more if I wanted it to be worth it. Since I couldn't use flowers to boost the prices, I had to be satisfied with just raw wild honey for now. After a couple of days of gathering resources, I had enough to make 1 additional beehive. I was really lacking in coal to make more, but I had all the other resources though. I decided that I wanted to build a charcoal kiln as I had plenty of wood, but I didn't have the copper bars to make it, so it was back to the waiting game. I checked on my 6 mixed seeds on summer 5th and saw that I was unlucky as I got some wheat from one of the seeds. That's a bummer, oh well. I kept harvesting mushrooms and checking the quarry, and on Monday 15th of summer, I went into the greenhouse and found that I had some corn and a hot pepper. This was great as now I had finally a passive way of getting some crops and farming experience. Albeit it was very little and painstakingly a slow process. It was really better than nothing at all though. I was able to make my very first charcoal kiln 2 days later, and I started to get to work on producing coal every day. For the next several days, I kept harvesting my mushrooms, making coal, crafting more beehives, and checking on the greenhouse. This lasted until fall 7th, where I had slowly amassed 7 beehives, made an additional charcoal kiln to burn for 2 coal pieces at once, got some much needed eggplants in the greenhouse, and hit farming level 4, which meant I could finally make preserved jars, which would be the next transition in the phase. However, I didn't make them yet, as I still needed to set up some more things in order for it to be effective. So I kept harvesting the mushrooms, collecting red mushrooms, purple mushrooms, common mushrooms, honey, corn, and eggplants, and smelting and burning my wood and ore. Soon the end of fall was nearby, and I had made about 18 beehives. For some reason, I thought that if you planted the beehives in the greenhouse during winter season, that they would still produce honey. How I was so wrong. Embarrassing moment aside, I was slowly working my way to the top, having multiple methods of earning money passively. All I had to do was go around the farm and collect them. Since all the mushroom trees were going to die out in the season of winter, on the last day of fall, I decided to chop all my mushroom trees to harvest an additional 5 red mushrooms from them, and recycle the tappers used there back on my maple trees. Since I had nothing really to do in winter now, all I had to do was just go into the greenhouse every now and then and harvest from my crops and also collect from my tappers. The 4th year of spring is where I begin stage 3, the preserve jars stage. I craft 5 preserve jars and start getting to work on using them to turn all the fruits that I had collected from the bat cave and the corn and eggplants and peppers that I got from the greenhouse. Note that I'm still collecting and continuing everything that I'm doing from the mushroom and honey phase, such as collecting the mushrooms from the mushroom trees, as I moved the tappers back from the maple trees to the mushroom trees once more, and embarrassingly moved all the beehives from the greenhouse back out on the farm. 11 days later, 12th of spring, 4th year, I make an additional 5 preserve jars, bringing the total up to 10. Preserve jars are so good to make as all I need are wood, stone, and coal. This is going to be my main moneymaker, as I don't need to use any of my precious ores to craft them. A week later, I have enough resources to make 6 more preserve jars, slowly turning my farm into a real base of operations for making money. I keep doing this strategy, and by the season of fall, year 4, my farm looks something like this. Here is what a normal day looks like. I go out, burn my wood for coal, collect from the beehives or preserve jars, collect from all the mushrooms from the tappers, and also collect from the greenhouse when needed, and check the bat cave every once in a while, and also turn my vegetables and fruits into jams and pickles in the preserve jars. When winter comes, I'm just working on the preserve jars, greenhouse, bat cave, and the farm quarry. I also shift all the tappers from the mushrooms to the maple trees and acorn trees. I need to get some oak raisin for later as they're needed in the kegs recipe. This will be for later down the road, however, as I still need plenty of farm experience to unlock the recipe. This process repeats till 5th year of spring, Sunday the 7th, which is when I finally get farming level 8. Finally, kegs are going to be added to the mix, which brings me into the 4th phase of the challenge, the Artisian stage, which is basically everything that consists of stages 2 to 3, but also adding kegs to the mix. Since my preserve jars are handling most, if not all, my vegetables and fruits, and I barely have enough production just to keep with it, my kegs will be doing something different entirely. All the honey that I have amassed until now, which is 517, will be turned into mead. Not only will this honey be used, but all the future honey that I will be getting from the beehives as well, as this will double the value of the wild honey. So now my routine consists of collecting from my kegs, beehives, preserve jars, and tappers, and also harvesting from the quarry's bat cave in the greenhouse. Remember that I said earlier on during my tips that you can craft fall wild seeds without seed makers? Well, that's exactly what I did for the space that I didn't have any mixed seeds for in my greenhouse. This was quite useful as I was able to get additional fruits to use for my preserve jars. I was also slowly increasing the amount of sprinklers that I had in the greenhouse. I didn't have much, but the number was slowly increasing. On my 5th year of fall, day 1, I created a huge plot of wild fall seeds that I had managed to craft from using the greenhouse. I didn't need any scarecrows as wild seeds are not eaten by crows. Besides that, I had finally harvested enough crops in my greenhouse to finally level me up to level 9 in farming, gaining me access to the ever so wanted seed maker. Which brings me to the last phase of the run, the eggplant stage. With the seed maker available, I made sure to turn all my precious crops into seeds, such as the pumpkins, the parsnips, the potatoes, and you get the picture. Finally being able to plant different types of crops, I started planting some pumpkins and parsnips into the greenhouse. Naturally, I'm still collecting from my mushrooms, beehives, kegs, preserve jars, and all that good stuff. My main focus, however, is slowly changing all the crops in my greenhouse to eggplants, and using the eggplants to make more eggplants via the seed maker. I keep doing what I have done from stages 2 to 4, and on the first day of winter, I start plans on reworking my entire greenhouse to fully maximize eggplant production. Here's a little construction montage for you. Honestly, I don't know if this is the best setup for normal sprinklers, and I'm sure someone can do the math better and make it more efficient. But I'm super satisfied with this as it was a lot of hard work and I can't be bothered to change it anymore. If you have a better way of making this work, please let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, since it is winter, after my chores, I spend most of my free time turning my common mushrooms into fall wild seeds. Why? Because one common mushroom sells for 50G, while a fall wild seed packet sells for 45G, and if I'm lucky, I get 2 or 3 seeds, which means I kind of double the profit when I sell it. And since I have over 1,000 common mushrooms, I thought it'd be much more profitable to do so. By day 6 of winter 5th year, my first harvest from my eggplant farm is ready, so I get to work on harvesting these bad boys. Hashtag eggplant emoji for life. On day 8, because I have a surplus of eggplants to turn into artesian goods, I make 10 more preserve jars, bringing the total up to 30. And finally, 3 days after, on day 11, thanks to my eggplants, I get farming level 10, allowing me to choose artisan profession to sell my goodies at an increased 40% profit. I keep on harvesting and turning all my eggplants to pickles and juice into kegs. And on the last day of winter, year 6, I sell all the goods I've stockpiled up, which makes me earn 888,029G. Here is everything that I've amassed during this playthrough. Unfortunately, we're just about 44,000 short of a total earnings of $1 million, but that can be easily fixed later. And I have more than enough money to buy every single bundle at Joja Mart and the movie theater, which is exactly what I do. January 1st, year 6, I get the minecarts bundle. January 2nd, year 6, I get the bus bundle. I also sell a bunch of things, only netting me 24,000G, which means I'm still a little short, but hopefully another round of sales will make me a millionaire. January 3rd, year 6, I get the bridge bundle. As day 4th of spring year 6 comes around, I earn $1 million gold with nothing but just the profit from my farm alone. I'm still not done, however, as January 4th, year 6, I get the last bundle, the panning bundle. And on January 5th, year 6, I finally complete the Joja warehouse. Which means now, I just need to buy the movie theater. I for some reason thought it needed to rain, as when you go with the CC route, you need to watch a cutscene. So I spent the next week or two just sleeping around. It was weird when no cutscene played when it rained, so I went to Joja Mart on Sunday 21st, buying the movie theater for $500,000. And finally completed the challenge on Monday, the 22nd of year 6. I decided to treat myself by watching a movie. Wow, this was a super long challenge that took me 5 whole years to complete. Could I have done better? I think so. Could it have been completed much quicker? Probably, but overall I'm satisfied with how things ended, and I thoroughly enjoyed doing this challenge. I learned a lot by doing this, and every time I try a challenge, I get to experience something new from this lovely game. If you have stuck around till the end, thank you so much for watching, and I'd really appreciate it if you gave me a like and subscribed and comment down below what your favorite part was, or any other challenges you'd like to see. This took a very long time, so I'd really appreciate it if you did so. Once again, thank you to commenter Marialla for this challenge idea. This has been Recluse of the IndieMasters. Have a great day, everyone.